Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are taking a deep, curated dive into the groundbreaking April 2026 Autism Special Issue of Diversity magazine. This issue is an absolute treasure trove, perfectly blending global expertise with some incredibly powerful lived experiences. We're going to peel back the layers of the major articles and the editorial to see how they're fundamentally rethinking parenting, education, and honestly, even the way we consume information. So, get comfortable and let's jump right in. Right off the bat, take a look at this striking illustration from the issue. It pairs with a poem by developmental pediatrician Dr. Srinivasa Raghavan called From Silence to Steel, A Mother's Metamorphosis. It just so perfectly captures the emotional core and that journey of empowerment we're about to unpack today. It really sets the tone for the whole magazine, highlighting this deep, resilient bond between parent and child as they navigate a path that is uniquely theirs. Here is a quick look at the roadmap for today's explainer. We'll touch on diversity's accessible mission, check out the home university vision, discuss the rise of virtual autism, and finally, look at the power of human connections. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Diversity's Accessible Mission, Breaking Down Publishing Barriers.
You know, the way this magazine is actually delivered is, well, it's pretty revolutionary. They went all in on inclusivity. The digital files are entirely screen reader friendly across platforms like NVDA, Chromevox, and JAWS. They even encourage you to drop the PDFs into tools like Gemini or Notebook LM so you can translate the text into over 120 languages. But the most mind-blowing part? No copyright. They literally stripped away the legal red tape, granting absolute rights to copy the content for ethical use. Talk about making absolutely sure this vital information reaches the people who need it most. Moving right along to Section 2, the Home University Vision, straight from Ram Kamal's editorial.
So, Editor-in-Chief Ram Kamal hits the nail on the head regarding a very modern kind of parental anxiety. He points out this troubling trend where mothers, desperate for answers, rush out to get these distant theoretical credentials. He specifically calls out the rise of the postal degree, getting a piece of paper without ever physically engaging with the subject. Kamal argues that your child doesn't need a parent with a disconnected credential. What they actually need is the love, affection, and specific knowledge you cultivate in what he calls the home university. You are already enrolled in the most important institution for your kid.
And to combat that parental panic, Kamal introduces this brilliant concept, the edu vaccine. It's exactly what it sounds like. Instead of seeking out some generalized degree, you intimately educate yourself on your own family's unique hurdles. That targeted knowledge becomes your shield. It's an edu vaccine that replaces fear with the absolute clarity and calm you need to actually help your child conquer their world. Next up, Section 3, Rise of Virtual Autism, the Digital Threat.
As we dig deeper into the major articles, we hit a stark warning about a modern crisis they're calling virtual autism. Basically, it's a cluster of autism-like symptoms, but here is the kicker. It's triggered not by genetics, but by excessive exposure to digital gadgets during absolutely crucial windows of early neuroplasticity. It's a reminder that human brains evolved to learn through multi-sensory physical contact, not a 2D screen.
And the numbers on this are just staggering. Looking at recent global studies, including 2026 reports out of Rajasthan and Kashmir, we're seeing that 55% of children presenting with developmental delays are showing signs of environment-induced shifts. That is over half. It clearly shows the digital environment is no longer just a passive babysitter. It's an active, dominating variable in early childhood development.
So how do we reverse this wrong neuroplasticity? The magazine argues for a complete paradigm shift. We have to stop doing what they call digital gatekeeping, which is basically just frantically restricting screen time out of sheer anxiety, and shift toward mindful stewardship. This is all about being proactive. It means actively prioritizing human-first interactions, swapping the iPad for the tactile resistance of physical play, and engaging them with the complex symphony of your own voice.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, Power of Human Connections, Lived Experiences.
Towards the back of the magazine, we get these incredibly powerful real-world case studies, like the story of Joey Lowenstein. For the first 14 years of his life, Joey was essentially locked inside his own mind, unable to speak, read, or write. But then, at age 15, a massive breakthrough. He learned to meditate, which unlocked his ability to communicate using a letterboard. Fast forward to today, he meditates for 20 minutes twice a day and actually runs a foundation to help other kids access meditation. And there's this one quote from Joey, communicated right through his letterboard, that just ties everything together. He says meditation is a tool to, quote, calm the mind and calm the mom. Isn't that amazing? It perfectly echoes Kamal's whole point about the home university and the edu vaccine. Joey's proving through his own lived experience that creating a calm internal environment literally transforms the whole family dynamic.
We also get a fascinating look at Nayan's story. His mom, Priyanka, closely documented his truly remarkable intuitive capacity to actually perceive and mirror thoughts. Now, the magazine notes this definitely challenged standard developmental metrics and even sparked some local controversies about how to define these abilities. But the takeaway here is huge. It's a call to action for parents to stay vigilant for atypical abilities. Instead of just stressing over how your child compares to neurotypical benchmarks, look for the unique, unconventional strengths they already possess.
As we wrap up our tour of this groundbreaking issue, I want to leave you with a question to chew on for your own parenting journey. Are you merely practicing digital gatekeeping out of fear, or are you actively engaging in mindful stewardship to build your very own home university? The April 2026 issue of Diversity magazine really drives home that the power to nurture, connect, and empower isn't found in a distant degree or a screen. It's right there in your hands. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep learning.